It's so good to see you on this beautiful Sunday morning. And hello to those who are joining us on Zoom. I'm happy to be with you as we have been practicing masking in the sanctuary. We are also not singing together to avoid having that exchange of air. The choir will sing, and I will invite you to clap in strategic times. So our gathering song is Now Let Us Sing. And there's a fun clap for that. Sing to the power of the hope within, or whatever, okay? So get ready, okay? And we'll help you with that. So please rise in body or spirit. And I invite you to hum heartily.
Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the faith within. Lift up your voice. Be not afraid. Let us sing to the power of the faith within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the hope within. Now let us sing. Sing to the power of the hope within.
Good morning. Andrew C. Kennedy, who writes, "We come the traditions, the history, and especially the people associated with it, and old, known and unknown, we reach out. History and forward to the future, to link together the generations in this memory and hope."
The chalice lighting word, Reverend Scott Taylor. We light this chalice in honor of the history, for the stories of heroism that inspire our own, for the faces in whose images we see our own better selves. For these memories do not live in the tours of our present. They throw themselves into our futures, to building a life better for all. They are here to listen, let them in. May their light guide our way. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in saying our church's affirmation of covenant and humming the doxology, which the choir will sing in English and Spanish. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of our hearts and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces. We welcome those of you who are joining us in the sanctuary this morning and also those of you who are joining us via Zoom technology. Our minister, Reverend Xolani Kacela, is in the pulpit this morning. I am Maggie Locatelli, your service associate. We are delighted to be with you. Unitarian Universalism has no creed or dogma. We are a covenant-based church, meaning that we all agree to live in relationship with each other according to the Unitarian Universalist principles and our congregation's covenant of right relations. We embrace diversity in all its forms. Everyone is welcome. You can learn more about our church by visiting our website, UUCLC.org. If you are visiting us today, we'd like to meet you. If you are in the sanctuary, please rise in body or spirit and introduce yourself by telling us your name, where you're from, and how you heard about the church. And please speak as loudly as possible. Do we have any visitors with us today here?
I'm going to warm up. I'm from Las Cruces, and we used to come to this church a while back.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm Jeff Darnell. This is my second visit to the church. I am originally from Hobbs, moved here back in July from Carlsbad, and I'm enjoying myself so far.
Great, welcome.
What I would like to do is this package to put you in a project for education to provide therapy for people like myself. This is what you have loved and hear from me. Thank you very much.
Welcome. And if you are visiting us via Zoom, you can just turn on your mic and your camera and introduce yourself as well. Nobody? Oh. Okay. So thank you for introducing yourselves. We're really glad that you've joined us this morning. And whether you introduced yourself or not, please either fill out a visitor's card in the lobby here or leave your information in the chat box on Zoom, and we can contact you about future activities and services at the church. Directly following this service, there will be a time to fellowship with each other during our newly revised coffee hour hosted by the Hospitality Committee. They have crafted a new normal with the focus on keeping us all healthy, so that for now, members of the committee will serve water, coffee, and bite-sized treats, which you can enjoy along with conversation in the fresh air. In addition to that, please just be aware, I know Catherine has already said this, but I'm going to reiterate it because the spread rate in Doña County has risen again. So we ask that everybody coming to the sanctuary be fully vaccinated, and that we all share in the responsibility of following the protocols of keeping masked indoors and abiding by whatever information the sticker communicates to you about how socially distanced people wish to be. So we appreciate everybody's continuing participation in those efforts because they're very important in keeping people in the congregation healthy. Reverend Kacela will have his third and final session of the course Living Your Best UU Life this Tuesday at 5:30. The link is in Week at a Glance's announcements online and on the website. For those who have been unable to attend, each session was recorded and is available on the website as well. Our stewardship campaign, Set Yourselves for 2022, is underway. Thanks to all of you who have swabbed your decks, checked your sales and masks, and sent in your pledge cards. Even if you don't know a bow from a jib or a rudder from an anchor, just remember that setting sail can also take place in your imagination when you consider your hopes for our church. For that, you need not know a thing about a ship in the water. All you need to do is to decide what treasure you can share in order to reach those hopes. When you send in your pledge card, you are stepping onto our shared vessel, because providing funds to keep us going is an essential part of stewardship. So set your course for healthier shores. Oh, come on now. I kind of worked hard on that, so, okay. The buildup and stuff, you know. So set your course for healthier shores of 2022 and send in those pledges. Thank you all for being with us this morning.
I think RE is a big family where every day somebody at the church finds a new friend.
To me, RE means meeting new people no matter how different.
RE is so important to me. It means beloved community, making meaningful connections through our Sunday sessions, our lessons, and our varied projects, whether it's like the mural, it was summer camp, we've done litter cleanups, and the box project, letters to veterans. I'm just so proud of our work and our service to ourselves and our service to the community. RE has really helped sustain me through a very challenging time, through the time of COVID. And I just can't say how much it means to me.
I'm Nova, and what I like about the church is it makes everyone feel welcome, and it's a nice place to talk about your week, and that's what I like about the church.
One thing that I like about my UU church is that it has helped me get through some hard times. During quarantine, I was pretty depressed, and it made me, RE and church has helped me be a little bit happier each and every Sunday. So that's helped a lot. Yeah, thank you.
Money, oh, my money gone.
The fire of commitment, and I'm going to invite you to join in with some clapping, rousing clapping. So when the chorus starts up, when the fire of commitment, it goes like this. Join me. All right. Jason Shelton says, Percussion is highly recommended, and you are the percussion, so you're essential. Please rise in body or spirit.
I never knew clapping was so hard to do. Now you say I have pretty good rhythm myself. I was watching Tammy, and Tammy was watching me. So we had a little kind of triangle going on here. Well, this is the time that we have reflection and meditation, and we have a candle lighting ritual where we invite you to come forward to light a candle. You can light a candle in memory of someone, a deep practice that you have, or just a time to center yourself in the midst of this beloved community. So we invite you to come now to light a candle as Catherine plays some meditative, reflective music. vigilant. I say that we need to remain vigilant here in this beloved community, even more firmly committed to our cause of spreading love and creating social justice here in Las Cruces. It's a time for us to double down on our commitments, a time for us to shore up within ourselves the strength and determination to carry out this ministry that we have all been called to do. We care for those who are sick and shut in. We care for those who are on the borders and on the margins. We care for those who cannot care for themselves. And we care for each other. This morning, as we reflect on what it means to be good stewards of this faith, let us remember our 8 principles, those that guide us and lead us and help us to be more intentional, spirit of life, about practicing the principles on a daily basis. We especially want to think about how we can be more loving to each other and stand on and side with love in all that we do. I ask a special prayer always for those people who are living in loneliness, in fear and desperation, those who are living with mental illness, caring for others, grieving and mourning, and those who are waiting for diagnoses on conditions that are troubling and causing them suffering. I ask this in the prayers and meditations of our hearts into the silence. We ask this prayer in the name of all persons present and absent, known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, and all helpers of humankind. Let us say together, Amen, Ashe, and may it be so.
This morning's reading is a poem by our U.S. poet laureate, Joy Harjo. Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away tonight. Remember your birth, how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are, red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life, who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them, listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind, remember her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember, you are all people and all people are you. Remember, you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember, all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember, language comes from this. Remember, the dance language is that life is. Remember.
It dawned on me this morning as our visitors spoke and introduced themselves that they may not understand what stewardship means to us here at the UU Church. So I want to just give you a 2-minute primer just so that this sermon won't sound like it's too far-fetched and out there in orbit for you. But for the UU Church here in Las Cruces, we have an annual pledge drive, and people commit to giving money during the coming year, which starts in January. And that allows us to create our budget for the coming year. So over the last several weeks and 2 weeks coming, people will be sending in their pledge cards, which tell us how much they will contribute in the coming year. So that's kind of the 2-minute song and dance on that topic for you. I do want to give a special shout out to our visitors who have joined us today. Jeff and I got together last week for coffee, so I always welcome getting to meet visitors, and especially our visitor from Baltimore. I have to tell you, my 106-year-old aunt lives in Baltimore, so I might need to have you go by there and check on her for me. We haven't seen her in a good little while, and Tamara and I was worried about how she's doing, and so it's good to have a connection close by that can send another connection up there and find out how she's doing. Well, today I'm talking about bringing stewardship closer to home, and the poet Joy Harjo encourages us to remember. She says, remember the sky, remember the moon, remember the sun's birth, remember sundown, remember your birth, remember your father, remember your mother. Remember, I say, this community. Remember that it needs you for its very life. Remember, without you and without your support, we have no UU beloved community. And remember that you all of us are stewards of this community. Well, here's a true story that I vividly remember. I was talking to Elle this morning about our trip to Costa Rica. We were in Costa Rica about a month ago for Tamara to have some medical treatment. And it's a beautiful part of the world. It's a kind of an island nation. One side is bordered by the Caribbean Ocean, one is by the Pacific. And we were camped out in San Jose. I see Tom shaking his head. I know he spent some time down there teaching. It's a beautiful place. And the people there are just fabulous. Everywhere you go, you get great hospitality. And it's very cool up in San Jose, but it's very high elevation. When you're coming down to the coast, it gets a bit warm. So one weekend, we decided to go down to the coast on the Pacific side. And everybody knows here that I love to fish. I love to get my fishing line wet. And I like to be out on the water. It's a restorative practice for me. So one day, I decided to rent a kayak and go out and do some fishing. And they had single-person kayaks and two-person kayaks. So the gentleman said, it's kind of a slow day, so I'm gonna give you this two-person kayak. And before I went out there, he said, are you sure you can kayak in this, under these conditions? It wasn't really windy, but it was a little bit windy, and the surf was up. I don't need any gallery over here. So I said, well, to be honest with you, I'm not really sure. What do you think I need to do? So he said, well, we'll help you get out into the surf because the waves were high. This is a beautiful wave, beautiful beach. I mean, this is a gorgeous beach. The water's blue and the sun is out and it's just a slight breeze, but the surf is coming in. We were in the coast of Samara, which is a place that people come for yoga and surfing. And you could see why when you get out there, because people were out there at the break of dawn with their surfboards ready to go out. So I got out. The guy helped me get through the surf, which is pretty high. And it's a very narrow kayak, a well-built kayak. And he said, remember this, keep your kayak perpendicular with the surf. Because if you get sideways, the waves can flip you in a minute. Everybody's shaking their heads like they've been through this before. Maybe they've heard this story from somebody I know. Well, I went out and it was a beautiful day. I mean, I was out there fishing. I caught a black sea bass. I released that. I caught this other fish that I didn't know what it was. It had some spots on it and had some type of fins that I couldn't really identify. So I released those fish. But the thing about kayaking in that big water is that the waves are constantly working against you. I'm an experienced kayaker, and I have a kayak at home, but I'm used to kayaking in kind of smaller bodies of water, like lakes or even big lakes. I used to kayak in a big lake near my house in Dallas when we lived in Texas. So you're out there, and he says, don't go beyond the reef. And the reef are where the fish are. So you have to at least get to the reef to get to the fish. Fish don't swim out in just open bodies of water for the most part. They're looking for rocks and branches and things that they can hide under. So I go out to the reef and I'm fishing. It's kind of a challenge actually because, it's kayak and I had 3 rods with me. I was trying to just maneuver these 3 rods because one had lures, one had bait, one had something else. So I'm out there, and after about 3 hours, I realized it's time for me to come back in. I mean, I've had a good time, but I've also run out of water to drink, and I didn't want to get dehydrated. So I said, let me come on back in, and I had passed my time that I had money to pay for also. That's a good incentive to come back. So I'm coming back in, and things are cool and copacetic on the water, and I'm just paddling in kind of slowly. And I was trying to find the landmark of where I rented the kayak, because when you are out there, everything looks like it's the same, and the water is pushing you in the direction that you don't want to go in, right? So I'm trying to find out where's the place that I bought this kayak. I'm looking, I'm kind of just trying to go to that, and it's kind of across the water. So I start paddling, and just as I get about maybe 40 yards from the shoreline, I realize that the wind is picking up and the surf is picking up. So I'm thinking to myself, stay straight, don't get sideways. And I'm just coming in, and then all of a sudden, I'm sideways. And all of a sudden, I'm flipped. The whole kayak is upside down, and I'm standing up on my feet because I had my life jacket on and the water wasn't too deep. But after that, I'm realizing all I have is me, the kayak, and my paddle. Everything else was gone. And then when Tamara showed up, I realized I didn't have my glasses. I had prescription glasses and they were gone. I started thinking about this Robert Redford film, All Is Lost. Because it was lost. I did grab one fishing rod, but I kept thinking, oh, my tackle is gone, which is about $1,000 worth of stuff I had. So that story is one that really stays in my mind because I knew when I was out there to keep my jacket on, but also sat there asking myself, should I get my things together just in case something happens? Well, fortunately, I did have my life jacket on. So the most important part of the story was that I survived and that I wasn't injured and everything else could be replaced. I had set sail to have a fabulous day of fishing. And I did have a good day of fishing, but I realized that I could have been more prepared. So I paid a price for that. Well, this year's pledge drive theme is Set Your Sails for 2022. We initially set our pledge target for $240,000. And then with the wisdom of the finance committee and some concerned members, we raised it to $270, which we think will help us to
continue our ministry as we have in the past. This is a lot of money for a congregation this size, but it is the amount that we've been budgeting for the last several years, and we've been raising the money. Yet I see a big wave coming upon us, because right now we're sitting on about $110,000 in pledges. That's the last that I saw last week, and perhaps it's gone up. So it means that we're less than halfway through the amount that we need to get through this pledge drive and to get prepared for 2022. For me, it reminds me of sitting out there in that beautiful ocean, looking at the beach and all of its beautiful images, all the palm trees and all the people walking up and down the beach. But then I think of this sudden surge of water that can just flip you over in a minute's notice. Now, my intent here is not to cause any harm or to cause fear or to strike fear in people's hearts, but it seems to me that it would be unwise if I didn't at least say to us as a community that we need lifelines. When you're on a naval vessel, and some of you have served in the Navy or served in the military, you know that that vessel has around the whole body, or even if you're on a cruise ship, most of us have been on cruise ships, there are life preservers all around the ship. And before you go out, leaving for the water, they call you to a safety briefing, and they tell you about these life preservers and how to stay safe. And if someone were to fall overboard, those life preservers would be thrown out to the person who is in the water. And this happens. I've heard of people who have just fallen over the edge and they're out there floating around, and someone has to come and throw that life preserver to them. Otherwise, they'll drown. Well, this is the time, if there were any, for us to get our life preservers on in the form of pledges and contributions. Without the financial support of each of us, this community would not be able to fulfill its mission. And I feel like our board is working fervently and feverishly trying to figure out how can we do this. I believe they want us to contribute more. They want to find ways that we can operate leanly and not spend money that we need not spend. And I believe that they may be considering drastic measures, such as staff cuts or other things that I haven't heard from them yet. But I just know that our budget is what sustains us. And as you know, 2/3 of the budget support personnel. They support me, they support our director of music back here, our DRE, our administrator, Kacela, and other people on the staff who work part-time. And without a healthy influx of pledges, it is likely that we're gonna deal with some staff reductions. The last thing that I want this community to experience is the feeling of, I wish I had done that. That was the thing that I kept saying to myself when I was out there walking the shoreline, trying to find my glasses in Costa Rica. I wish I had a band behind my glasses, because when I was out there, I realized, I said, I don't have a safety band for my glasses. And I said, I wish I had gathered my things up in my tackle bag and zipped it up. It would have floated. I would have gotten it. Tamara knows that when I got off when I was in the on the shoreline, because she's walked up to me as I was coming, dragging the upside down kayak. She didn't see me flip over. Luckily, I'm glad she didn't see me flip over, because I know it would have been more drama on the scene. But I kept saying to her, I wish I had zipped up my tackle bag. I think I was more dissatisfied with that than anything else. And I don't want us to go through a period in the coming year where we say, we wish we had done more to pledge more. I don't want us to say, I wish we had done more to save this position or that position. I don't want us to say, I wish I had done this so that this community can continue to live out its mission here in Las Cruces. Our mission is to transform this community through love and social justice. And who could not support that type of mission? There are about 2 weeks left in our pledge drive. And I want to encourage everyone, if you haven't already, to send in your pledges. One of the things that I know can sustain us is pledging small amounts and pledging frequently. That is the strategy that we saw implemented when President Obama was elected. And people criticized Obama and criticized his campaign, saying, there's no way people can get this man elected. But sure enough, using social media, encouraging people to pledge through Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all the various other ways that people were giving money, we saw Obama elected into office. So I say to us today, think about this community. Remember this community. Remember what we do here in Las Cruces. Remember the people that we take care of. Remember how it is to join together and to be together and to be this one big community that loves each other and transforms the city. I believe that we are making a huge impact in Las Cruces, and everywhere I go, people can say something good about this congregation. On January 1, we will set sail for a new year. And now we need to bring stewardship closer to home. And by that, I mean, I want us to treat this community like it is our home. It's our home away from home. We need strong stewards to help us keep the lights on, to keep the staff paid, and to keep living out the ministry and the mission that we have been called to. Now is the time for us to throw in the lifelines. Joy Harjo says, remember the earth, remember the plants, remember the wind, remember her voice. Remember you are all people. Remember you are this universe. Remember, all is in motion. Remember. Amen.
We have been worshiping in our lovely refurbished sanctuary since early September, and we're streaming each service in order to include as many people as possible. We're practicing indoor masking and social distancing in order to help end the spread of the virus. During the past year, many of the church's expenses continued. Some have increased since we reopened, and it is vitally important for the ongoing health of the church and its work that we all fulfill our financial pledges if at all possible. All through the pandemic, we have continued support of organizations identified by the Social Justice Committee as recipients for our Change for Change program. The recipient for this quarter is Seroptimist International of Las Cruces, which is part of a global women's service organization. Their mission is to provide women and girls access to the education and training they need to achieve economic empowerment. Our local Seroptimist Club supports women's education in Southern New Mexico with their Dream It, Be It Award and Live Your Dream Awards, which provide financial support for educational programs beyond high school. The Dream It Be It Career Support Conference, sponsored by Seroptimist International, teaches high school girls enduring life skills. You can make your pledge or donate to the Change for Change by putting your checks and change in the basket, by sending your checks to the church, or by using the Give link on our church's website. Thank you.
Summer days growing shorter now, summer nights much long. Summer breeze blowing colder now, summertime grass on. Autumn leaves are floating from trees, orange, yellow, red, and brown. Autumn leaves are dancing with the breeze. Autumn leaves are drifting down. Summer leaves changing color now. Summer blooms disappear. Summer girls moving southward now. Summertime draws near. Autumn leaves are floating from the trees, orange, yellow, red, and brown. Autumn leaves are dancing with the breeze. Autumn leaves are drifting down. Autumn leaves are floating. Autumn leaves are dancing. Autumn leaves are drifting, dancing.
If you are joining this worship service, are looking for a spiritual home, and are sympathetic with Unitarian Universalist values and principles, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Las Cruces may be the place for you. We believe that when you become a member, you are entering into a warm and deep relationship with all of our members and friends. You are becoming a part of something much bigger than any one of us, becoming a part of a movement to change our community and our world. There are several routes you can take to membership. Speak with the minister after an in-person service, call the church and leave a message about your interest, and someone will get back to you, or sign the virtual membership book through the link in the electronic order of service.
Our closing hymn is Love Will Guide Us. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and hum this beautiful melody.
Please be seated. I just realized I may have given you the wrong impression. I don't want you to feel limited to give small amounts. If you want to give big amounts, please give big amounts frequently too. And I want to say also that I didn't get discouraged from kayaking. I'm still out there, so don't you all get discouraged either. I want to give a special shout out to Diane Lee for giving us this beautiful arrangement this morning. I walked in, I saw the green, it was just kind of just overtook me with beauty, so thank you. And to Maggie and Catherine and Kacela and Elwin for your support, and of course the choir. Our closing words today are from Leah Derlin Jones. For those who came before us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love. As we go forth from this time and place, let us be inspired by their courage, their wisdom, and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Amen, and blessed be.
Please join me in saying the words to extinguish the flame. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.